Hello, Stephen Godsall here. Every ukulele has the potential to be a whole percussion section, and we're going to explore 10 techniques which you can use. There are some exotic things like Guiro, woodblocks, Chatterbox, bell tree, and most of these will work with any acoustic ukulele. A couple of them actually do need a pickup to work, so we'll talk about those later. But let's begin with something very simple, just playing your ukulele body as a drum. That's the sound of an entry-level kala, which is a nice instrument, and that's got quite a high soprano tone to it. Let's compare a tenor ukulele. This is a flight. So that's got more of a deep conga type sound as opposed to the bongos you heard with the first ukulele. Both useful and they both work fine. Now if you actually add a little bit of studio recording technology to that, nice microphone and some reverb, it sounds a bit more like this. Second technique is actually using some brushes to create a snare drum brush effect. I'm going to use these plastic brushes. A lot of people use metal ones for drums, but for ukulele, plastic work really well. They won't scratch your finish so much, and they sound fine. So let's first of all begin with the soprano kala. Because this is a matte finish, you actually get a nice scraping effect with the brushes, which is one of those classic brush effects. Let's compare the flight tenor. Okay, now it's a gloss finish, so you don't actually get the brush sweep effect. And I'm also a little bit worried with a beautiful gloss finish that you might scratch it. So how about we treat it in some way? The first thing I'm going to try is putting some kitchen cling film over the surface. That will certainly protect against any scratches. But let's see what it does to the sound. Okay. But it lacks a little bit of that snare drum effect, I think. So I've got another idea. We'll try some kitchen foil over the surface. Well, now that actually you get a little bit of that snare rattle from a snare drum, so that's actually a slightly better effect. Let's just try that on the soprano. So that's well wrapped up in foil now. Now to me that's the best of all. I actually got quite a good snare effect. You could use that as a snare drum in lots of different genres. So I'm pretty happy with the brushes. Let's try our next technique. This is one which is a Latin American percussion idea called a rezo Guiro. Now the Guiro relies upon having some texture in the instrument you're using. In this case we've got a fretboard, so I'm going to use, this is actually a corn on the cob holder, but it's made of hard wood. Now one of the magical effects of Guiro is to actually get the tone changing as you move along, so it's good to use the whole fretboard, damp your strings with one finger, and it's a pretty good Guiro. Let's listen to that with some studio effects. Okay, let's see if we can get a cymbal effect of some sort. And what I've done is threaded an ordinary kitchen fork between the strings of this ukulele, and I'm going to hit it with a light, something light and made of wood. In this case, this is a kebab stick. And I'm also damping the strings, as you can see. So let's actually just hit it here. It's about the closest you'll get to a cymbal, I think. And if you damp it a bit harder, it's more of a hi-hat sound. Now, again, recording it is quite important. I generally use a small diaphragm microphone. I use a Rode NT5. And if you record it around about a foot to 18 inches from the instrument, and you add some reverberation, you'll get a lot closer to a real cymbal sound, and it'll give you more of an ambience. Okay, let's move on to wood blocks. Now, hitting the ukulele body in various places will give you a different tone. So again, I'm using a light wooden beater here. I can get 4 different pitches of wood block. Quite a low one there, middle one, high one, and a very high one. Again, let's record those with a proper microphone and just see what they sound like. That's a pretty good woodblock section. I think that's well worth trying out. Okay, let's move on to something a little bit more exotic. Latin American instrument, which some people love, some people hate, called the Chatterbox. And this is something where you actually get a beater rattling to create a sustained vibrating sound. Again, I'm going to use this cocktail stick, stroke, kebab stick. I'm going to thread it through the strings so it rubs against the body, and by adjusting that I can get it to actually ring on for a bit longer. Now, a long reverb stroke echo effect is actually key to making a Chatterbox work, so having recorded it properly, it sounds a bit like this. Now let's see if we can get something more high-pitched in terms of bells. To get more of a metallic effect, I've threaded the cocktail stick stroke kebab stick through the strings right over the sound hole. That's not a brilliant bell tree, but actually had some reverberation and echo to that, and it sounds more like this. And you can also get gamelan type effects by threading it through at different positions. So it's a sort of prepared ukulele. All right, let's move on to getting a bass drum. What you need to do is actually amplify this. As soon as you plug this in to an amplifier, the pickup, which in this case is under the bridge, has a proximity effect, and if you bang the bridge, you get a much lower tone like this. But then you can further improve that by putting it through a guitar effects pedal. This is a Zoom multi-effects, under £100, and you can get them cheaper second-hand. And this has got an octave down effect. You can also use that to create a U bass with the tenor ukulele. But in this case, we're just going to put it an octave down, plug it into the direct to the desk, and hit it here to get quite a convincing bass drum. Job done. Also on this unit, there's a thing called a ring modulator. And what that does is creates bell type tones from a pure note. And in this case, we'll put this ukulele through it. I found it helps to put something metallic through the strings as well. And if you then use the ring modulator and you hit the strings, you get something between a cymbal and a triangle. Okay, our final effect picks up a technique which is used by dulcimer players, which is to actually hit the strings with a light hammer. And again, I'm going to use my kebab stick for this. So instead of plucking the strings, we're going to hit them. You can actually use this to play a tune. For percussion, just stamp the strings and move this up and down, and you get actually a variety of different pitches coming in, harmonics coming out. Again, your acoustics will make a big difference to this, either if you're playing in a room with some natural echo or electronic reverberation, and you get something a bit more like this. So there we are, 10 different sounds you can get with the ukulele for percussion purposes. Now do subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see more of this and we can keep going, and there will be further tutorials coming up. Thanks for listening.